Hello and welcome to another An Old Man Watches. And today I'm going to be talking about the 1985 film Return to Oz. Now, as I mentioned in my review of The Wizard of Oz, by the early 80s it had become something of a cinematic icon, a cultural icon even. In the United Kingdom it played on TV every Christmas Eve, basically, or just before Christmas certainly. And the songs and the snippets of dialogue were widely known. Follow the Yellow Brick Road, I'll Get You My Pretties, and Your Little Dog Too. You know, like all of these things were quite embedded in our culture. So there was considerable excitement when Disney announced a sequel. I believe it was Disney. Yes, it says Disney on the box, Adam. Dorothy would return to Oz. She would meet old friends anew and face a fresh batch of wild and weird villains. And then the film came out. And look, making a sequel more than 40 years after the original is always going to be something of a risk. Making a sequel that is very different in tone from the original film and that ditches some, like it's not a musical because it was the 80s and nobody made musicals. But it wasn't a musical. It had a different tone. It's almost asking for trouble to make a movie so different to the beloved original. And it received pretty mixed reviews and a disappointing box office. And the real tragedy of all that is it's a much better movie than its more famous predecessor. Much better. And I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why. Number 1, a sense of menace. Look, Oz in the books is quite a menacing place. Oz in the first film is not menacing at all. The Wicked Witch of the West is completely inept. I am going to use an inhaled drug to defeat my enemies, 2 of whom don't breathe. There is a flaw in your plan. When she turns up at the beginning, and she faces down Glinda, and Glinda is, "You must go, you have no power here." And you're like, well, hang on a second. What? Like, if she's got no power, why do we care about her? At the end of the day, there's no sense of menace. In this film, the bad guys feel menacing. And look, if the mid-80s showed us anything about movies, it's that kids films in particular, family films, they enjoy a sense of menace. Look at The Dark Crystal, which came out at a similar time. These are films. That is a film that people who were kids in that era really remember. And I like the fact that Return to Oz re-injects a sense of menace. The Gnome King feels menacing. The macabre sorceress who has different heads for different moods feels menacing. I like that it re-injects a sense of menace to Oz because Oz, for all that it's a fantasy world, is not, it's not entirely nice and twee and pretty and, So I like that this movie re-injects a sense of menace. I also like that this movie injects a sense of, sense. Plot-wise, this is so much better than the original. The Wizard of Oz makes no sense. Not even the nonsense kind of sense that Oz is supposed to make. As I said, Glinda banishes the Wicked Witch of the West from understanding you have no power here, which begs the question of why she just didn't deal with the witch. She's right in front of you, Glinda. It also begs the question of why the Munchkins fear the witch. She's got no power. Why would they, in Munchkinland, why would they care about her? Why does Glinda even send Dorothy to the city of Oz and all of those missions when Dorothy has the tools to get home? And I'm spoiling, a 70-year-old movie here, 80-year-old movie here, so apologies. But, the ruby slippers can get her home at any time. Why does Glinda dispatch her to meet the wizard? Is it because Glinda is secretly gunning for the Wicked Witch of the West and or Dorothy? Who knows? Is Glinda really such a good witch? Yeah, so, Wizard of Oz makes no sense. In return, however, the actions taken by the characters recognisably stem from their motivations and the situations they're in. Characters act like those characters should act in that situation. I mean, there's plenty of whimsy in the script, don't get me wrong, but things don't just happen because the plot needs them to. It's not that sort of hand-wavy stuff that Wizard of Oz does. It all does actually kind of follow on from itself. I applaud that kind of thing. And finally, and to my mind, most importantly, Dorothy has agency. In the original film, Dorothy completely lacks agency. She never acts directly to achieve her own goals. Her house falls on the Wicked Witch of the East by accident. She melts the Wicked Witch of the West by accident. She's continually saved or ordered around by others throughout the film. She does what Glinda tells her. She does what the Wicked Witch of the West tells her, for that matter. She does what the Wizard of Oz tells her. She just follows instructions and lucks into success. In return, Dorothy comes up with plans, and then she enacts them. She looks to her friends for help, of course, because that's the whole point of having friends. And she has a little luck on the way because, she's a movie protagonist. But it's her plan that gets them out of Mombi's jail, and she's the one who solves the Gnome King's riddle. She's a much stronger, smarter heroine. And, if you've got, female children and you want to show them a female movie role model, she's a much better one in this movie than she was in the original. So that's 3 reasons why this is a better movie than its much more famous, much more successful predecessor. And honestly, check it out. It's a good one. So, that's Return to Oz. What are we looking at next time? Well, next time, we're going to take a look at a micro-budget filmmaker who is not Ed Wood, and his most famous movie, Teenagers from Outer Space. They blast the flesh off humans, because it is not a restrained or sensible movie. So that will be next time. In the meantime, thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed it, and catch you in the next one.